start, kindly open your cameras for a while. Let's take a screenshot. And then, Hazel, sino bang pwedeng maki-screenshot? Pwede sa'yo?
Naka-phone ako, sir. Sinong naka-laptop dito, guys?
Panate.
Okay, go, Sean.
Sige. Open your cameras and then screenshot tayo.
Sean, magbilang ka naman.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Pause mo na dun sa GC natin. Alright, so bago tayo start no sa discussion sa lesson, tanungin ko lang no, ano ba yung na-take up natin na pinakalas? Matagal na kasi last year ito eh.
Sir, dun ata sa evaporation and transpiration.
Okay, so we were discussing, I think we discussed one example, no, sample problem doon sa sample problem on determining evaporation by yung mga yung pan evaporation, tama?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we were able to discuss about that one last time. So we're going to continue and then with the other methods, no, of estimating evaporation plus also evapotranspiration. Alright, paano ba? Sandali. Parang nanibago ako kasi 1 year tayong di share screen. Alright, so let's continue with the other methods of estimating evaporation. So we have the water budget method. Alam ko, kilala nyo ang mga ito, no? Budget, water budget, energy budget, and mass transfer method. Among these three, itong dalawa ang pinaka-popular sa kanila kasi even from the start, we already had idea about water budget and energy budget. Ang unang-una, yung energy budget yung tinalakay natin and then 1 year ago, last year, no? Energy budget. Water budget, yun sa water budget equation. Input minus output equals change in storage. Actually, yun yung natin yan. So, in terms of the water budget, we have this following equation as I've said a while ago, no? Yung basic water budget equation natin ay yung input minus output equals change in storage. No? So dito naman sa estimation of evaporation, we have this formula P plus V sub IS plus V sub IG is equal to V sub OG. Meaning yung O is outflow, no? Yung I na subscript naman ay inflow. So V sub OS plus V sub OG plus lake evaporation plus change in storage plus daily transpiration loss. So all the quantities are expressed in units of volume or depth. So ito yung basic equation natin. Bale, ang input natin, okay, doon sa basic equation natin na input, okay, so bale ito, input is equal to output plus change in storage. No? So as long as there are estimates on the, for example, V sub IS, daily surface inflow into the lake. So parang ito na yung mga problems na problem solving na ginawa natin no, na the application of water budget management. Wala nang pinagkaiba. Okay, so if you're going to use this equation in the estimation of evaporation is, of course, you're going to transpose on the left side itong E sub L. Okay, we transpose on the left side. And then we transpose to the right side yung P plus V sub IS plus V sub IG. And all units are expressed in units of volume or depth. So, ganun lang kasimple, no? So, kailangan may estimate tayo ng lahat ng values na yan. Of course, precipitation, meron tayong rain gauges, no? O di kaya nearby synoptic station, like for example, dito sa Tugigaraw, dyan sa Pag-asa. And then there is an estimate of the daily surface inflow. There is also estimate of the daily groundwater inflow, yung mga pumasok. Okay? Ganon din yung mga palabas. Okay? Plus the daily transpiration loss. Meron tayo, we can estimate. Kaya tawag dito class I estimate. So hindi siya talaga, kumbaga, medyo mas malayo sa katotohanan, no? Kasi estimate lang. It is the simplest methods of all the methods, but at least the least reliable. Kasi nga, estimate lang siya. And then we have also energy budget instead of using volume, no? Or quantity quantity of water. Ito naman, quantity of heat naman ang basis, no? So we have the formula H sub N is equal to H sub A plus H sub E plus H sub G plus H sub S plus H sub I. So it involves the application of the law of conservation of energy. So instead of water units or water quantities ang pinag-uusapan natin dito, ito naman ay heat quantities. Kasi 'di ba, involved na dito yung di ba? We discussed also last time about the about latent heats, no? Latent heat of fusion, latent heat of vaporization, like that. So meaning to say, in order for evaporation to take place, there is what we call the needed amount of energy. Of course, this energy comes from ultimately, no, the ultimate source of energy is our sun. No? It's the sun. So, if we have quantities, for example, H sub N in here is equal to the net heat energy received by the water surface. Okay, that's the net heat received by the water surface is also equal to H sub C, okay, multiplied by the quantity 1 minus R minus H sub B. Okay, where H sub is the back or long wave radiation from the water body. HA is the sensible heat transfer from the water surface to the air. H sub G is the heat flux into the ground. H sub S, heat stored in the water body. H sub E, the heat energy used up in evaporation. Okay. Which is also equal to rho times L times E sub L. That's E sub L is the lake evaporation. And capital L is the latent heat of evaporation, and rho is the mass density of the fluid. Or here we're talking about water in here. And H sub I is the net heat conducted out of the system by water flow. That's the advected energy. So, kung meron tayong lahat values ng mga ito, then we can also use this energy budget method in order to determine the heat energy used up in evaporation. So this can also be used to estimate. Okay? estimate. So estimation of evaporation from a lake by this method has been found to give satisfactory results with errors of the order of 5% when applied to periods less than a week. So I mean to say, kung pinaka-less accurate yung una kanina, ito medyo mas maganda. Alright, so parang ganito yung yung a diagram showing the different energy units, no? Say for example, energy balance in a period of 1 day. So it says in here, all energy terms are in calories per square mm per day. O di kaya, depende no kung anong unit. So ang nilagay lang na unit dito is an English unit in calories per square mm per day. Not necessarily, kasi yung calories lang, usually, unit of heat, parang energy yan, no? In terms of international system, usually, pag energy, joules, no? Or Newton meter. Okay? So, in here, it is in calories per square mm per day. So, we can find, for example, the cross-section of a lake. Okay? So, we can see in here, okay. Baguhin itong okay. So we have in here the cross-section of a lake. Okay. So we have there a solar radiation H sub C. Coming solar radiation, we have the back radiation H sub B reflected radiation R H sub C. Okay. So we have the net energy absorbed by the water, which is 1 minus R times H sub C. Okay. So of that energy absorbed by the water, meron din tayong okay, and then energy used up by evaporation, which is the term rho times L times E sub L. Then we have also advection heat transfer, no, H sub I. And then itong heat flux into the ground. So meron din tayong storage, no, heat is stored in the body of water. So makikita natin dyan at saka outgoing. So since balance ito, energy balance, like the balansihin lang natin lahat ng pumasok minus lahat ng lumabas equals to the change in storage. Then we can always rearrange the equation. So that's how energy balance is being done in determining the evaporation. And then we have also, okay, if we are going to compare the methods, it says in here, analytical methods can provide good results. However, they involve parameters that are difficult to assess. Okay. How about the empirical equations can at best give approximate values of the correct order of magnitude. The above, pan measurements find wide acceptance in practice. So usually, yun ang ginagamit ng mga weather stations, no? Yung evaporimeter, no? Evaporating pan gamit ng mga weather stations. Instead of using the energy budget methods. And then there are also methods of reducing evaporation kasi siyempre in reservoir, for example, is not a friend. Okay, evaporation is not a friend. The bigger the surface area, the more the evaporation. Hindi kaya in tawag dito, for example, fish pond or in a pounding dam. So kaaway natin ang evaporation. So as much as possible, here are the ways to reduce evaporation. Reduction of surface area of reservoir. So instead na mababaw at malawak ang area to have a volume of, mas maganda, maliit yung surface area na naka-expose sa sun at holding the same volume of water. If we are talking about storage. Another one, windbreakers. So planting of trees around the reservoir also prevent much evaporation kasi yung hangin mas mababarahan. And then, of course, effective ito sa small reservoir. Kasi kung napakalaking kumbaga, yung mga naitanim sa gilid, konti lang ang epekto kung yung surface area naman ng reservoir ay napakalaki. Mechanical covers. Of course, sa maliliit din ito kasi very coveran mo yung yung halimbawa, fish pond. Coveran mo. Okay? Hindi naman maganda. O di kaya yung small water ang ma-prevent mo evaporation, tatakpan mo yung kabuuan. Siyempre, napakamahal yan. No? Monomolecular films. A thin film of chemical is spread which reduces the evaporation. So, pwede rin parang sa iba. That depends upon the usage, no? The usage of the water is paglalagay ng chemical, siyempre delikado yan. Pero depende sa gamit. Alright, next, let's go to transpiration, which is the process of water being taken and evaporating from plants. So, it is taking by the plants through their roots. Usually ito, no? So, mula doon, soil water, the roots suck soil water, water from the soil. Okay, and then, during the process of respiration, water comes out by the leaves, no, through the stomata. So that's transpiration. Water escapes, no. So pag pinag-combine natin yung dalawa, kasi transpiration involves vegetation, di ba? So hindi sila nagkakahiwalay usually. Unless yung storage natin, yung lake natin for example, siyempre walang vegetation. So walang transpiration. Pero almost in general, no? Kasi we're talking about culture and biosystems. Okay? Combination of crops or vegetation, no? And the field. So, and the soil. Okay? In a farm, for example, so definitely it's a combination of evaporation and transpiration. Evaporation. It accounts, evaporation accounts for the air from sources such as soil, canopy interception, and water bodies, while transpiration for the movement of water within a plant and the subsequent loss of water vapor through. So, evapotranspiration is an important cycle. There must always be transpiration, not only evaporation. Kasi ibig sabihin, kapag walang transpiration, wala tayong evaporation. So they occur simultaneously and there is no easy way of distinguishing between the two processes. So kaya sabi ko kanina, as long as there is vegetation in a certain area under consideration, then the two must come together. Alright, so ganito yun. For example, here a watershed, okay, with some vegetation. So it's a combination, no? From this illustration dito sa left. Makita natin dyan, no? From this area, there is a component for groundwater recharge, no? Sa deep percolation as a result of groundwater recharge. Okay? So yung naiwan sa topsoil, so ito yung yung naiwan na moisture sa topsoil ay it is being taken by the plants, and then through the plant use it in order to live, and then they transpire, no? They transpire through the stomatals. Tapos yung water intercepted by the canopy, okay, those water oozing through the stem, okay, undergo also what we call evaporation. That's why it's a combination of the two, evaporation and transpiration. Likewise in here, we can also see it in here in the second bigger picture, and of course in the hydrologic cycle, no? Cycle. So it's on this part where there are vegetation. So it's a part of the hydrologic cycle. It's a review. How are we going to estimate evapotranspiration? Again, bumabalik yung ating water balance, no? Catchment, meron din tayong tinatawag na energy balance. And then meron din meteorological equation. So yung mga water balance at saka energy balance, may idea na kayo dyan. Pero itong mga hydrometeorological pagtunan natin ng pansin. Alright, so same yung kanina, tawag dito, inflow minus outflow equals change in storage. Parehas na parehas. So in the hydrometeorological equations, we have the first one in here. Of course, there are several na as researchers progress in evapotranspiration, there are equations that are being derived as a result of further studies, no? And of course, improvement equations. First, here is this what we call Blahnik-Riedel. Two scientists who made the study. That's why they came up with this what we call Blahnik-Riedel empirical formula developed based on data from arid Western US. So, usually, kasi US ang laging nanguna sa mga ito. Maganda kung tayo, baka hindi ganyan ang pangalan. Marahil kung ako nauna dyan, kailangan ko naman ng Kabinto equation. Parang gano'n, no? Or Kalagi equation, pwede rin. Okay. This Blahnik-Riedel equation assumes that potential evapotranspiration, itong PET, is related to the hours of sunshine and temperature, which are measures of solar radiation in an area. So, meaning to say, dependent ito sa sunshine duration and temperature. So, saan ba natin makukuha itong data na sa weather station? Di ba yung sunshine duration, ito yung mini-measure ito din, no, makukuha ito doon sa reading coming from the anong tawag doon sa parang nakita niyo doon sa Pag-asa na mayroong papel sa baba or scale paper, and then titignan kung gaano kahaba. That's one, no? That's one of the instruments. Determining the sunshine duration. So the moment na andyan na yung sun, okay, mag-i-start na yon na salamin na yon, yung crystal bola na yon, ang light through a very small area, and then intensity ng radiation yon kasi i-converge niya eh. So, masusunog yung papel. Walang sunlight na naman, cloudy, wala na namang masunog. Pag kunin mo yung sunshine duration, i-total mo lang yung kung ano ang equivalent, say, in time, in hours, yung haba ng nasunog. Eh kung diretso na may araw sa buong maghapon, masunog yung depende dun sa scale, dun sa paper, below the instrument. So that's sunshine duration. So meron tayong temperature readings from the station. So and then we can also determine the amount of evapotranspiration. So notice ang kailangan ay ito. So it's a summation of P sub H, which is the monthly annual daytime hours. Of course, which depends on the latitude of the place, and monthly temperature. Mean monthly temperature. Okay, so that's the Blanik-Friedel. And then we have the Penman equation. No? Blanik-Friedel, and then we have the Penman equation, which is gives the formula E sub mass. Okay? Mass of evaporation is equal to M times R sub N plus rho sub A C sub B. Delta E times GA all over the quantity lambda sub B multiplied by the quantity M sub, tawag dyan sa Greek letter na yan. Okay. Gamma. Alright. So M is the slope of pressure curve in Pascal per Kelvin. Kuha sa values nito sa mga tables, no, of saturation vapor pressures. And N is the net irradiance in watts per square meter. Rho sub A is the density of air. Ano na usually yung ginagamit natin na density of air at sea level. Standard temperatures or standard conditions, yun ang usually 1.25, no? 1.225 as I say. Depends upon the amount of temperature. And then C sub is the specific in joules per kilogram Kelvin. G sub A is the momentum surface in meters per second, while delta E is the vapor pressure Pascal. Lambda sub B is the latent heat of vaporization, and psychrometric constant, no? The psychrometric constant, Pascal per. So if we know these things, you have data on these things, okay, then we can determine the mass of evaporation. So that's Penman equation. So notice, kaya nga ang tawag sa mga ay hydrometeorological kasi hydrometeorological data ang ginagamit. Then we have a variation of the Penman-Montide. So variation, but meron ding Penman-Montide variation. So we have also this equation with the following meaning, no, of those symbols that are used in the equation. So notice yung original Penman equation marahil ng further study itong Montide, no, another scientist, another researcher, no, minodify niya. So hindi naman niya inalis yung pangalan. Marahil siguro dalawa sila o di kaya in-acknowledge na ito. That's why it is now called Penman-Montide equation. Mas pa na naman, mas niya yung mga parameters na ilagay diyan sa equation. Right, so I'm not requiring you really to memorize. All right, so energy balance, as I've said a while ago, parehas lang ito doon sa water body. Change in storage is equal to outflow. Pero ang units na ginagamit ay radiation or energy. Okay? But there are also considered as experimental methods. No? Actually, isa lang lysimeter. Lysimeter as experimental method for measuring ET. Alright. So ano ba ito? There is a special watertight tank containing a and set in a field of growing plants. The plants grown in the lysimeter are the same as in the surrounding field. Then evapotranspiration is estimated in terms of the amount of water required to plant moisture conditions within the tank, measured either volumetrically or through an arrangement made in the lysimeter. Lysimeters should actually reproduce the soil conditions, moisture content, type, and size of the surrounding area. They should be so buried that the soil level inside and outside the container. Lysimeter studies are time-consuming and expensive. So, ano ba ang itsura ng lysimeter? Parang tangke ito. Tangke actually na lalagyan ng lupa sa loob na parehas nung lupa sa area na iyong i-study. Okay? Tamnan ng pananim o say trees, kung trees ang nandun, katulad ng nandun sa area na ini-study mo. Tapos ibinabaon sa lupa upang sa ganun yung lupa sa loob sa surroundings. Parang ganun. No? So para makita niyo lang yung makita lang natin yung itsura nito. Okay? Ito mag-i-share ko tong ano sa internet. Stop ko muna yan tapos mag-share ako ng iba. Lysimeter. Ito, ganito, parang yung tangke, tapos nandun yung, meron ng lupa sa loob na nilagay, tapos yung vegetation sa palibot nila. Yan, tapos ihuhukay, ilagay sa hukay. Yung soil sa loob ay sing level nung nasa yung mga vegetation na nandyan. No? So may mga nakalagay na rin na kwan ito sa tangke. Tawag dito sensors, okay? Yan, parang ganyan. It's like that. Ang itsura niya. So sa tingin pa lang, magastos na mahal ito kasi may mga sensors na rin yan para automated yung so parang ganyan. Maganda ito, medyo transparent yung ginamit na ito, nakakabit sa tangke na yan. Yan. Medyo closer look yan. Mabigat pati kasi siyempre ang ginamit dyan na kadami ng kalalim, no? Kalalim niyang soil column na yan, yung cylinder na yan, yung tank na yan. Siyempre kung ano yung depth ng root zone, root zone, no? Root zone depth. Average root zone depth doon sa area. So that's how a lysimeter looks like. So ito laboratory type. So nandiyan ng lupa galing doon sa area being studied, tapos nandiyan yung topsoil at saka nandiyan yung vegetation. Tamo. Okay, so nakakabit yan lahat yung mga sensors and then directly to a data logger para pag sinet mo na, iwanan mo na and say kung ilang araw yung observation period, i-record na ng data logger yung data, no? Kung ano man yung kailangan, no? Temperature, kasi tubig ang kuan nito, no? Moisture ang mini-measure dito, no? Tapos yung evaporation siyempre aakyat yan. Aakyat. Okay. So mami-measure lahat, no? Pag nag-evaporate yung nagkaroon ng evapotranspiration, siyempre mababawasan ang tubig yan. Masisense naman kung ano ang magiging soil moisture content na, no? Siyempre pababa kasi sisipsipin ng plants and then mag-transpire. Okay? Yung mga basa naman diyan sa mga leaves ng plant nag-evaporate din. So definitely, no, there will be some variations in, okay, parameters in here. Like for example, water content, moisture content, temperature, and other things. So that's how a lysimeter looks like. Simple lang na lysimeter, pwede naman mag-improvise, no, ng lysimeter. We can improvise a lysimeter gumamit ng simple simple maliliit na tawag dito. Say for example, flower pots, no? Flower pots. Tapos pagtanim tayo ng kung anong gusto nating itanim, no? Na nandun sa palibot. Halimbawa, kung damuhan o di kaya taniman ng gulay, edi yun din ang itanim natin doon. So kuha tayo ng lupa. Kuha tayo ng lupa doon sa mismong study area. And then, yun ang ilalagay natin doon sa pots. Balik ko lang sa presentation.